I have no question that it will, Jess. We've seen this in the past. Our major purpose is to keep the youngster in school and to give him an opportunity to learn to work with other people and to learn job skills. But we have seen many successes during our past 5 years, and we continue to see them. When our enrollees continue in school, they become involved in social clubs in school or become involved in academic clubs in school, and many of them at the point of when they're first involved with our program or about to drop out of school, we can't help but believe that we're not doing some good.
I felt like the cost of living had increased some 6%, and we were reducing the amount of take-home pay that these people have. Sometimes people in this capacity don't worry as much about people making $400 and something a month as they should. We committed, I felt, the entire court committed ourselves when we passed the classification system, which I made the motion on that too, that if the cost of raise income was necessary, that we would support it, and that it would not be a part of the classification system.
With regard to the interest rates paid on savings deposits of the public, the administration has stated before that it would like to move to a system in which there are no federal rate ceilings and where banks and savings and loan associations would be able to pay what their earnings allowed in the form of interest rates or higher interest rates on deposits.
This would be allowing interest rates to find their own level in a competitive market, would it?
That's right, but as a practical matter, the Federal Reserve Board and the FDIC and the Federal Home Loan Bank Board, which share this rate-making authority at the federal level, are very concerned about the impact of any precipitous or immediate removal of these interest rates, particularly in the housing market. We are trying through many different legislative devices to increase the amount of money in the mortgage market. And we would be afraid that removing interest rate ceilings right now on deposits would result in a significant shift of assets from savings and loan associations and savings banks into the commercial bank system or into the securities markets, and therefore away from institutions which have traditionally financed housing in this country. And we are concerned enough about that I would expect those ceilings to remain in effect for some time yet.
This matter to a referendum of the voters prior to any such bond election?
Yes, I think that the voters certainly have the privilege of knowing what's going to be done with their tax money. I think that if that is done, however, the voters need to have all of the facts pertaining to the selection of a site for a central library before them.
Second, the library board proposed a site, or a site location committee of the board proposed a site, which was downtown. Immediately, about 50% of the people were proponents of the downtown site, and approximately 50% of the people were proponents of the Amon Carter Square site. We feel like that we have lost about half of the 53% of the support as a result of the site location controversy.
We feel that these are much more, should be much more reflective of what our bids will be now than the estimates that we made last spring.
I think the general feeling is that if the bids are completely out of line, as you mentioned, we would have to set it aside and take another look.
To pass the motion that was presented this morning would effectively junk the job classification system and would also mean that the construction on the district attorney's offices would be subjected to an inordinate delay of at least 6 months.
It'd be difficult for me to gauge what the city council vote next Monday will be. I would, from the discussion this morning, certainly there are a number of the councilmen that seem to favor the inclusion of the issue on the September 8 election. Others seem just as vigorously opposed to the inclusion, and I don't believe I'd care to guess what the council will do at this point.
On June the 12th of this year, after presenting the library proposition and other CIP propositions to the public at large, it was reported to us that 53% of the people favored the library proposition. 47% were opposed to it.